Now lock in, now laser focus.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Locked In. My name is Megan Holden, and you're still Sam Enriquez, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. We know it's been a minute, but we're back. Finals is over, so we're ready to get back into the NFL, NBA. Can you what do we have today for our viewers, Sam?
All right, so we got a couple of NFL topics. We're going to be talking about the NFL AFC East. We're going to talk about their schedule, what we think their records are going to be. We're going to talk about some NFL trade rumors, and we're also going to talk about some NBA, the biggest surprises and upsets about this season.
So let's get straight into it. I want to talk about NFL trade rumors. Start off, Packers and Aaron Rodgers made some noise right before the NFL draft. Kind of stole a little bit of the show for the NFL draft. So Packers are still holding on hope that they can try to resolve this issue. It seems like Rodgers is like, I'm done with the situation. I want to move on. They tried negotiating his contract to make him the highest paid QB, even going over Patrick Mahomes, who got that big contract just last offseason. But he actually declined it. It's not about money with him. According to Devontae Adams, Packers wide receiver, it's about respect. And the fact that they draft Jordan Love last draft kind of was a big sift in this with the respect with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. So yeah, he turned down the contract offer. The Packers haven't been signing QBs. I'm not sure if Blake Bortles, if we see Blake Bortles got another shot. Tim Tebow also made a comeback to NFL. We'll get into that another time. But they're desperate for a QB right now, and it looks like Aaron Rodgers will be attending the offseason programs. We'll see what happens with training camp. But what do you think is going to happen here? Do you think that who's going to blink first? Do you think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come play for the Packers this season and give in, or do you think he's going to retire, or do you think that the Packers are going to make a move?
So the Packers aren't going to play him. He's not going to want to play. I can see him sitting out. He's already contemplated retirement like Brett Favre did when they brought Aaron Rodgers in. Same situation's happening right now. And the thing, no QB has played in Green Bay for more than 16 seasons out of all of them. Mm-hmm. They've all played 16 seasons and then left to go to another team.
It's something there. Something about can't do 17. Something about the 16th year. It's over.
And Aaron Rodgers is done. He wants out. And I honestly would love to see him in a Denver Broncos uniform.
All right, we're going to get to that in a second. Let's relax. We're going to get to destinations in a second. I want to just know if this is even a possibility. Now, they are against the cap next offseason. Tight cap space. I believe he counts for $25 million for the next 2 seasons. There is a potential out, though. There is a potential out of next offseason, so they can buy him out and save some cap room. It's just, it seems like they're not budging. So do you think some people think that this can be reconciled if they fire the GM? If you're the Packers, do you make that move? Do you fire another GM, or do you keep Rodgers?
I think just because of his age, they're not going to fire the GM. Just because Aaron Rodgers is already up there, he's still a phenomenal quarterback. But they still have Jordan Love they drafted for some reason. They're not going to get rid of the GM. It's hard to find a good GM in the league. I feel like he's doing a decent job over there. It's just he hasn't given Aaron Rodgers the help he wants. He's trying to switch to a run-first team like we talked about last year, and that's not what he needs. So I think they get rid of Aaron Rodgers before the GM. They're trying to make it work, but I don't see anything happening about it.
So how I think this is going to go down, kind of like what we said earlier in the offseason about the Watson situation, it's going to be about who blinks first. It's going to be about if Rodgers budges and it comes back training camp or comes back first week, or if it's going to be, they're going to drag this out towards the trade deadline, or if they're going to drag this off to next offseason. Will, Rodgers take a break and go be the host of Jeopardy or whatever show it is. I think that's actually the most likely scenario. I don't think this is the fact that he turned down the highest paid contracts is a lot to me. The fact that ESPN, I believe it's ESPN report, like he's messaging guys saying goodbye earlier around the draft. I think this is over. I think it's just a matter of when, and I think this is going to be dragged out because I don't see no one budging, and both seem kind of, I would say petty, but both seem kind of like down on their word, egotistic, like they're not gonna cave easily.
It's reminding me of Deshaun Watson, that situation that when that happened. They're both like, all right, I want to go, you're not going. I want to go, you're not going.
But here's the difference. With Watson, you had a promising young QB who has years ahead of him. With Rodgers, this is contention. This is a couple of years a team's going to be trading for. So before we're going to get into that real quick of what teams you think will make sense for Rodgers. Right now, it seems like the teams that he's interested in that have been reported was the 49ers, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Broncos. What's the best fit? What's the package that the Packers are likely going to get for him? And when do you see this going down? I think it's going to be probably around the NFL trade deadline or beginning of next season.
So honestly, as biased as it is, I feel like the Broncos will have the best trade package for him because that is where he wants to go. His wife lives in Denver too. His wife also has a house in Denver. They have that connection. Denver has young stars. They have Jerry Jeudy. They have Cortland Sutton. Noah Fant still a solid tight end. They have Melvin Gordon still at the running back. They just drafted, I think it was Javonte Williams from North Carolina. He's a promising running back. We have a solid O-line. I feel like that would be his best bet. Plus, you can either give them Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. So if they want a quarterback that's going to start right now over there in Green Bay, give him Teddy Bridgewater until Jordan Love's ready.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they can trade Teddy Bridgewater right now because of he was just traded. I have to look into that. But I'm going to look into that if they can trade Teddy Bridgewater right now. But go ahead.
So if they wanted to start a quarterback right now, they could put him over there. If not, Drew Lock's gone, which I don't care. Get rid of him. And we could just give up about 4 draft picks. I could see that happening. Broncos will do that. That was Peyton Manning. We brought Peyton Manning in when he was at the same age Aaron Rodgers is at. This is the time for it. And I feel like he has the most weapons over here rather than over in San Francisco, just drafting Trey Lance and having Jimmy G. And then in Vegas, I feel like this is the best fit for him.
Okay, so I'm looking up this if they can trade Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think they can right away, and it also makes no sense because you just traded for him. You kind of want, if you're gonna contend, you want a reliable backup if Aaron Rodgers goes down, and I feel like you would rather want Teddy Bridgewater who has experience than Drew Lock. And if Packers are gonna start over, I think they would much make more sense to have younger competition with Drew Lock. If they want to create cap space, I doubt they're gonna want to take Teddy Bridgewater contract back if they're already kind of in a tight situation. So I think if I'm gonna go with Denver, I don't think they're the best land spot. I'll tell who I think is most likely spot in a second. But they're up there. I have number 2. I think it's gonna be between Denver and this other team I'm gonna mention. But Denver, I'm looking at a package of 2022, 2023 first round picks, the second 2023, and Chubb, the defensive end, and maybe package certain. They want another rookie. They're gonna want promising rookies because they're gonna rebuild. Either package certain because they love their cornerbacks there in Green Bay, or I could see maybe a Tim Patrick if you would go Tim Patrick the wide receiver because they can always use more help on the wide receiver end. But I think actually the team that's probably gonna be the most aggressive here is the Las Vegas Raiders, and I'm gonna say because I feel like Mike Mayock. I can't talk today. Can never talk any day, but this day especially. But Mike, his job's on the line here, and he's probably desperate. Raiders have never been shy of swinging for the fences, going all out. Where I feel like Denver has been kind of more conservative recently, especially since they just traded for a QB. I'm not sure if they're gonna do another one right away. They do have a better offense for him, but I think it's gonna come down to more what the Packers want than what Aaron Rodgers wants. So I think Las Vegas would be most willing and most aggressive at offering the best package. I can see them offering probably 2 or 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and they probably offer Derek Carr, who came back last season. He's a good bridge QB. I think he's not a future QB, but he'll be a great bridge QB for Jordan Love because they don't think he's ready yet. But like I said, I think it depends on who's going to be more aggressive between Las Vegas and Denver. And I think Las Vegas, especially with that market, I can see Rodgers loving playing Las Vegas. I can see the NFL loving Las Vegas to be a contending team. And like I said, Mike Mayock is fighting for his job right now. When Denver's GM's kind of more laid back.
No, Denver's GM's he's getting up there too.
No, he just got appointed by Elway. Elway take a step back and.
Yeah, but there's rumors right now that they drafted Patrick Surtain to give him to Green Bay because they said if the Packers traded him during the trade, during the NFL draft, it would have capitalized. They would have owed $25 million. Whereas if they trade him anytime after June, they owe him $12 million. So it cuts that down completely. So they were saying they were drafting for the Packers right now because we already have a solid group of cornerbacks. Pat Surtain, we really didn't need.
Yeah. But, okay, I get that. But here's the thing. They have a young star cornerback in Alexander, right? They also have they just drafted Stokes in the first round, he's pretty solid. He can work on his hands a little bit, but drafted him in the first round. So I know I mentioned certain, but honestly, I think they'd rather have another first round pick than another cornerback, which they already have pretty good depth at the position right now because they've been drafted instead of wide receivers. So I think maybe Tim Patrick, if you're going to best route. Like I said, I think that Denver is a better place if Rodgers wants to win now, right? If Rodgers still wants to win now, I think the Denver Broncos are better suited because, yes, they're young, but they have good offensive talent. You got, Jerry Jeudy, you got Sutton, who's very underrated. You have a pretty good offensive line, even though I feel like you guys should have drafted instead of Surtain. I think you guys should have got offensive line like maybe Slater. I think that would have been a lot better for you guys. You guys have a pretty good run game. You got Mix there. You got a sleeper there. When a running back. And then defensively, you guys are building back up. You still got some vets. And you guys signed a couple quarterbacks to fix up your secondary. So if he wants to win now for Rodgers, the best fit is for the Broncos. But I think for the best package is going to come from the Raiders. All right, let's talk about Julio Jones. That's also another player that's on the trade market. And that's actually someone who I think is more likely to get traded before this season starts. So Julio Jones, let's say out right now, Atlanta's taking calls for almost everybody that's has a high contract. They're right there at the end of the cap space for this season and next season. So the GM that he's taking phone calls. And it's likely that if it does happen, it's going to happen after June 1st because of the cap situation. It would be less of a cap hit. And it seems like he's probably going to get traded. That's the rumors now. They're not even posting him, I guess, on his schedule graphics. He's not even on there, which is kind of not a good sign. His contract for this season is $15 million, which if you consider the market, is actually not a bad deal at all. And then going forward, I believe it goes down to $11 million and then also a potential out after next season and then $11 million again. So they have Calvin Ridley, who can step up. We saw step up last season, can be number one wide receiver. They also drafted Kyle Pitts, who's seen as the best receiver. I know he plays tight end, but he's seen as the best receiver in the draft by many NFL scouts. So people bring up Matt Ryan can also be traded, but I think Julio's more. The fact they drafted Kyle Pitts and not Justin Fields is telling to me that Julio's more likely to go out the door before Matt Ryan, especially since they don't really have a for sure backup. So I think it's going to happen where I think the cap space matters. This is a $15 million $15 million contract. I know there's a lot of teams that could use them, like the Ravens, the Raiders, the Titans, but Philadelphia would probably love someone because of health, even though they just got Devontae Smith as a steal in the draft. But I'm looking at the teams that do have cap space and do have a need. I'm looking at it's going to be between the Colts and New England Patriots for me. And this is the same thing. It's going to be about who wants it more. Now, New England loves the Saban guys, right? We've seen it in the draft. He loves that Nick Saban connection. Julio Jones is actually one of Nick Saban's favorite players of all time. That's an interesting thing. They need a number one wide receiver. They still don't have one, even after they grabbed two top tight ends in the draft, and they drafted Nelson Aguilar. I can't say his last name. Aguilar. Yeah, Aguilar. They got Kendrick, playing of a slot guy. It's kind of like what Myers plays, similar to Myers. That played 49ers, kind of underrated signing, but they still have that true number one wide receiver. And the fact they've been looking for it the past couple years. They tried Josh Gordon. They tried taking a low risk with Antonio Brown. It's just they haven't bought it. So I'm not sure if he thinks that Nelson can be that guy. But I feel like the Patriots, if they want number one receiver, they're gonna have to just end up paying the price. My question is, will they? The fact they spent a lot of money on the two tight ends. They got Nelson. Do they still want to spend money on a wide receiver, another weapon? They could use it. I think this will take them above in the NFL. I feel like this will make them a playoff contender if they got Julio Jones. Would you agree with that? A for sure playoff contender?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think that solidifies their offense. If they got Julio Jones, that would a number one receiver, something they've been searching for since Randy Moss left, a true number one. I think that takes them over the hump, and they may have for sure playoff contender. But what would it take? I think it would take J.C. Jackson. I think it would take a second, and I'll take a fourth. Will the Patriots depend? Will Patriots pay that and the contract? Where I think the Colts, they have $20 million cap space. They have room. It seems like they've been waiting to make a move. They have a need at wide receiver. and I think they'd be more willing to play. So my heart wants the Patriots, and it makes sense for the Patriots to do it. But my mind is telling me the Colts are going to end up making a move. Where do you see him going, and why?
So I see none of those teams taking him.
Okay.
I see neither of them.
Well,
I honestly,
for you.
I see the Baltimore Ravens making a push for him.
But they only have $9 million cap space.
No, they have $15.8 million cap space, and they haven't signed any of their draft picks yet.
You're gonna have to sign your draft picks after they sign their
but you got to think they don't have to sign their draft picks though. They don't have to.
I mean, they kind of do.
No, they don't. They don't have to. The only ones that are guaranteed are the first rounders. You don't got to. After that, you're not guaranteed to get a contract.
I highly doubt they're not going to sign their draft picks. Hold on, keep going. And they actually had a couple good sleepers in their draft. They had two first rounders. Remember, they made that trade with Kansas City, and they also got a good sleeper in the second round. But keep going, because I'm pretty sure I'm looking at the cap space. I'm pretty sure they had $9 million.
Yeah, where I'm looking right now, it says they sit at 13th with $15.8 million in cap space.
All right, what website you on? I'm on Over the Cap.
This is Spot Track.
Oh, see, Over the Cap has them at $9 million. So somebody had some explaining to do. But either way, I think maybe they're probably considering the fact they are going to sign the rookies to the deal.
Well, I just feel like this would be a good spot for them since they don't have that number one guy, and you're not going to have to target him as much as you would because they're a run-first team. Whereas over there in Atlanta, you're focusing on passing to him because Matt Ryan can't run out of the pocket. Over here, you have Lamar, who's dynamic, who can run outside the pocket or give it to Julio, and you still have Hollywood Brown, who hasn't really shown his worth yet. So you need that number one guy still over there.
But here's the thing, though. You just mentioned something. You saying he won't be get targeted as much. Julio is his key thing. He's not a touchdown guy. He's not a big target. I mean, that's been the biggest complaint about him is that he's not a touchdown guy. His biggest thing is receptions. His biggest thing is targets. That's what's his worth. If you want to get your most bang for your buck, if you're gonna maximize Julio's potential, or what's left of it, I don't think Ravens is the best place because he's not going to get those targets that he got in Atlanta, which I think that's what best utilizes him. Because, like I said, he's not that big threat in the end zone. Yeah,
but if he goes to the Colts or the Patriots, who's going to have thrown to him? Cam Newton, who last year played a horrible season, and that Patriot system, they'd have to change the whole system because it wouldn't fit Julio.
Hold on. How would it would fit Julio? Julio, and also, like I said, Nick's main connection. I'm pretty sure he knows how to run a complicated offense. Cam Newton, we already talked about this. Cam Newton, if you look at his numbers, if you take out the what's not his fault, like the throws that run wrong route, drops and stuff, he was actually a middle pack QB. I think that it's the fact that you have the worst wide receiver and tight end group in the NFL is gonna hurt a QB. Look at Tom Brady's last season in with the Patriots. It's kind of similar to Cam Newton's numbers. And then after COVID, he kind of came out and said he wasn't the same. It was hard for him to get back on track. I think now he has a whole offseason with a complicated offense. Now he was able to pick it up. Last offseason wasn't really much of an offseason. This offseason, he has, they're going to have training camp. He's going to have more time to be able to get more connected with the new wideouts. Another year in the system, another year healthy. I feel like there's no way that Cam plays worse than last season.
I mean, it's all going to be time because they drafted Mac Jones. I don't know if that's going to weigh in him mentally, knowing that his time's maybe out the door considering they would use their first round pick on that instead of actually drafting a wide receiver to help him out.
Who was at the top after those top three guys were gone, though, it was a big drop. And I mean, the writing was on the wall that they needed something for the future. Cam's on a 1-year deal. I think that might actually push Cam because Cam, I feel like, is better with competition. He's the type kind of like he has a chip on his shoulder. He's better when he has a chip on his shoulder. Because the problem with I think last season is he could have a bad game, but there was really no one in there that's going to really threaten him to take him out. Like they were kind of hesitant to put Stidham in. They would not put Stidham in because they knew that it wouldn't make anything better. They put Stidham in when it was like, okay, there's no way we're coming back. And Stidham still came in through interceptions. I think that's the fact that now they have another option. If, hey, this Cam situation doesn't work out, we have a guy that's a pocket passer, doesn't really make much mistakes, can get the job done.
No, I'm saying I like the pick of Mac Jones. I like the pick overall. I'm saying for Cam's mental wise, I don't know if that's going to take a toll on him, knowing that, all right, his time's coming up quicker than later, considering how bad last season was. He either has to put up this season or he's done. As a permanent backup in the league, he has to put up the season. But the amount of people they signed this season, it's going to take a lot to get them all in that Patriot system. They signed so many new players, it's going to take a while to figure that out. And if you're adding Julio over there, I just feel like it wouldn't work. There'd be too many new guys, And that Patriot system is very complicated to where maybe 2 or 3 of the new 8 guys picked up in free agency are going to get it, and the other are just going to struggle backwards and trying to figure it out.
This is definitely a prove it year for him. And I think that's why he signed another 1-year prove it deal. Like I said, I feel like, Brian Hall here saying if you have to make that many excuses. It's just, you can say it's making excuses, but there are also facts. Like he went to a new team. That's a fact. They didn't really have much of an offseason. That was a fact. He wasn't playing as bad before COVID. And he had the worst tight end and wide receiver group in NFL. Like that, those things are gonna hurt a wide receiver QB, no matter who the QB is, no matter where they're going. They're not gonna be at their best. So I'm interested to see, like you say, now that they have a little bit better weapons, they don't still have that true number one, but they have better weapons than last season. Let's see what he has left. Now he has another year in the system. There's really no excuses. So this is definitely a prove year for Cam. I agree with that. But let's talk about the other place. I mentioned the Colts. Let's go back to Julio real quick. Why don't you think the Colts are a good fit for Julio?
Carson Wentz. Plain as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, if you're the Colts, you obviously traded for Carson Wentz. I'm with you. I'm not believing Carson Wentz. I think that injury, it changed him. He's not going to be that NFL, I feel like, franchise QB.
I just feel like if Julio goes over to the Colts, his career is over. He's not going to have a chance at winning again.
They were a playoff team last season. They have a pretty good defense. They have a solid roster.
Yeah, but they have Carson Wentz. Have you seen that man play? I mean, he's arguably worse than Jacoby Brissett. I mean, he played horrible, and now he's going to a whole new team.
He was probably one of the worst. Like, people dog on Cam, but Carson Wentz was actually worse.
Carson Wentz was one of the worst in the league, and now over there, if they get Julio, it's a great thing, but it's still Carson Wentz. I don't see them making any playoff push whatsoever.
So you're not buying that whole Eagles, he didn't have much help, things were constantly injured. You think it's on him? Yeah,
because Jalen Hurts, you saw he played with the same amount of people and did way better than Carson Wentz did.
He did better. I don't know about way better, but he did play better. I think
Carson did better with the same offense as a rookie.
Yeah, Carson Wentz is not well under pressure. He's not really well at reading. Like, he reminds me, like I said this before, he's a poor man's Tony Romo. He makes some plays that, like, oh, wow. But then he also makes so many mistakes that will cost you the game. Like I said, I'm not worried about the QB wide receiver matchup. I'm thinking about, like, fit what the team needs. And Colts, they have the cap space. It will be the easiest for them. And they have the number true wide receiver need. Because with T.Y. Hilton, I mean, you can't trust him to stay healthy. And he seems like even when he still wasn't the same wide receiver as he was in the past last season there. He lost some speed.
I just feel like if they do want to restart, it's not time for Julio. He's getting up there in age. The Colts need to start looking to restart that team. So getting someone for that amount of money that he's worth right now and wasting almost all your cap space, it's not worth it for you because you have no chance of winning with him. You add him over, but you have no chance of contending, really.
I think they're 2-3 seasons. I mean, he has 2-3 years on his contract. I think they're 2 seasons away. I think that they're not bridge of, they're not Super Bowl contenders, but they're definitely in the playoffs. I mean, they're a playoff team. Yes, a lot depends on how Carson Wentz plays, but if you take him out the fact and just look at their roster, like I said, they have a good defense. They improved their defense in the draft and in free agency. They didn't do much of free agency with their cap. They were more conservative, but they still had a solid team. They have a great, I think, running back by committee there, and they have some solid young prospects at wide receiver. I think if Julio comes and he can definitely help develop them for the future. So you also have that as a plus if you're going the young route. If it doesn't go well, if you don't go to Super Bowl. Like I said, my heart tells me New England because I think Bill Belichick wants to win one before he leaves. But my mind tells me it's going to be Indianapolis Colts because it's going to be less complicated because they have that need. And I think New England doesn't pay as much as Indianapolis Colts does.
No.
All right. Now, we spent a lot of time on that. Let's go into the NBA biggest surprises and disappointment. Who is your biggest surprise for NBA this season?
The Wizards.
Biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise, yeah.
All right, tell me about it.
Because they got rid of John Wall, they added Russell Westbrook, and I was like, all right, I don't know how this is going to work, him and Bradley Beal, or if Bradley Beal's out how it's going to work, if Westbrook's out how it's going to work. They're playing phenomenal right now. I mean, Russell Westbrook's a triple-double machine. Even with Bradley Beal out the past couple of games, he's found a way to win. And the way he's doing on that team with a bunch of no-name players averaging 15 assists a game, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. And now they're in the 8th seed. They're not even they're in the play-in tournament, but they're in the 8th seed. And they have a chance to beat the Celtics to go and to guarantee that 7th seed, which I didn't even expect them to make the playoffs, honestly.
But we did say that Westbrook would be better, I think, with the Wizards than John Wall, returning John Wall. But I think there is a much bigger surprise that you're overlooking here. A team that has been surprising all season took a bigger jump and forget about the play. They're in the playoffs. New York Knicks are relevant again. Did you think this was going to happen? I did not think this was going to happen this year, especially after the offseason. I love the Toppin pick, but that's the only thing that's not working for them. How ironic is that? So Knicks, I mean, Tom really had the head coach there, really turned the atmosphere around. Great defensive team. He's also a defensive-minded coach. So that's not a surprise. But Julius Randle, most improved player, he should definitely. There's no question that he should not get that award for this upcoming season. Most improved player for sure. Not forget just the jump he made. Just being able to run the offense, a big man run the offense, and what he added to his game. Then you have Derrick Rose coming back, reuniting with Tom. He's still showing that he still has left in the tank. And then you had RJ Barrett take that another jump, which a lot of people question, especially with the offseason, not really how much of an offseason, and not much of a program where these young guys. I thought you think they would regress, but RJ Barrett took a jump. But yeah, Knicks are really, besides Obi Toppin, their draft pick, there's not much. This team really blew out the water. They're talking about they're in a 4th spot in the playoff. The record 41-31. They have beat. It's not like they just have an easy schedule. They're beating playoff teams. They got closer. I think they can mess with the Nets. They're competitive. They're one of those teams reminds me of the Celtics when they had Isaiah Thomas. They're tough as nails. They'll play their heart out, and that's the type of teams that you love to root for. Honestly, here's my thing, and don't disown me, Celtics fans, but the Celtics. I don't. Like I said, I don't think they're gonna go far. They just don't have it. I'm kind of rooting low key for this Knicks team to win it all. I just love how they play. I love how they play. Knicks and Suns, I would enjoy. Forget the big teams. Well, Knicks is obviously the market. But forget the Lakers. Forget the Celtics. Forget the Warriors. I want to see the Knicks. I don't want to see versus the Suns. That would be a very exciting championship. But
big teams. The Celtics aren't a big team. Look at them. They're about to lose to the Wizards.
I'm talking about market-wise. And they still get a shot. If they even lose to the Wizards, they still have a shot to make the playoffs facing the Hornets or the Pacers. But you saw also another surprise that we mentioned, Hornets. We were dogging their offseason. I did not think LaMelo Ball was going to be this good this early. He actually had the biggest bust potential. I thought he was going to take time, given that he didn't play many games. But wow, he's averaging over 15 points per game. I believe he's close to it. He had 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Well, pretty well rounded. And then you have Hayward's obviously in and out injuries. It looks like it's a solid team. Terry Rozier is starting to come around. What's your thoughts on them?
I love them. And Miles Bridges. Don't forget about him.
You think they're going to make the playoffs?
So if they play the Celtics in that second game, yes, they'll make the playoffs. Just because Jaylen Brown's out. And they have no clue what their rotation is right now. It looks like they're just kind of tossing, hey, you want to play? All right, you're going in. Hey, you want to play? You're going in.
Calm down. We got another segment after this called The Biggest Disappointments where we can dog the Celtics. But I want to hear more about the Hornets.
But I feel like the Hornets will be fine. LaMelo Ball wasn't even supposed to come back this season. And he came back and he's playing the same way he did before, maybe a little better. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's clear-cut rookie of the year, even while missing that many games. That's how far ahead he is of this whole rookie class.
Okay.
He's playing exceptionally well. No one really thought he'd be this amazing. 3rd pick overall. He's playing great. I'm happy he's doing well. Miles Bridges looking nice over there. Like you said, Terry Rozier. Gordon Hayward, when he's healthy, is playing great over there. They're a contending team to make the playoffs, but they're not making any run in that playoffs. But they can get in.
I'm surprised. They kind of remind me of the Memphis team when Memphis was on borderline of being in the playoffs. Was surprised. I didn't think they were going to be. Even though they're still not a top team, I didn't think they would be this good at all. I thought they were just setting themselves up for another contract situation with signing old vets and just trying to bring in revenue. I did not think this team was going to mesh, and they really meshed it well. But if I had to order it, I'm going Knicks first, Hornets, and I can't even put your team top 3. You get top 2. You really take them over the Knicks and the Hornets.
Just because the way Westbrook's playing, everyone talked about him. Oh, he's not going to help teams win. He's just a stat patter. Look what he's doing on a team with a bunch of nobodies.
Nobody's Bradley Beal.
When Bradley Beal's out, look what he's doing. He's still winning games.
Okay. He's
still winning games, getting 15 assists a game from guys that no one wanted on their teams.
But I mean, he still won games with the Thunder. He's not like a Chris Paul where he's taking them, carrying them to the playoff. He's not maximizing them to that.
No, but now they're all bonding. But Chris Paul has weapons over there in the Suns.
No, I'm even talking about when he was at the Thunder. When he was even with the Thunder, I mean, I don't see I think that was even more impressive. I just can't buy the Wizards hype. I just can't. The fact that they were also here last season as far as battling for. They wanted to battle for a playoff spot, and that didn't go well. I'm not sure. The two guards who need the ball.
No, they're playing well together. It's not that
they're playing well
ball.
together, but like the defense is not the big man. They have a big hole in the big man. The Wizards that I'm not sure how you're gonna match up against teams when you have to if you have to go against guys like Giannis, if you have to go against guys like Kevin Durant, like what are you gonna do? Like who are you gonna put on them?
No, that's why I'm surprised they're doing this good because they have no one on that team besides Bradley Beal and Westbrook.
But I'm saying if you play them with that, I think they're gonna get smacked. I don't think it's gonna be competition where Knicks are challenging these teams. Knicks are challenging the Nets. Like, do we even think the Knicks? Like, let's be honest. How much of a margin do you think the Knicks and Wizards were going to be before this season started? Like they were both bottom tier of the team, and I think to me, Knicks took a bigger jump than the Wizards. Like the Knicks are like playoff team. Like they are battling for. They can make a challenge. They can upset some teams where the Wizards were like, and they'd be nice if they make the playoffs. We'll see if they make the playoffs. But I would really buy in that they are for sure a playoff team. And then if they get in, will they not get knocked out right away?
They'll get in, but that's going to be a battle. Westbrook versus KD, Bradley Beal and Kyrie. I want to see it. And I don't want to
take nothing away from Westbrook because I think he's a great player. Definitely generation talent for sure. But again, I think when it comes down to team aspect, not just one player, team aspect, I'm more impressed with the Knicks. And I'll probably put the Jazz in that third spot. I even put the Jazz over because I didn't think the Jazz were going to be this number one team in the freaking over there. But I mean, the Lakers. I think the Lakers getting injured helped a lot. All right, disappointments. Who are you disappointed in? Because I think everyone knows who I'm disappointed in. So if you want to go first.
So I'm honestly going to be disappointed in the Clippers.
Really? You don't have high expectations? I think this is just your way to dog the Clippers because let's be honest.
No.
You did not have high expectations for them in the beginning with.
Yeah, but then they added Rondo and they added DeMarcus Cousins and they're still in the 5th seed. I mean, they should be above. They should be 1-2. They should be 1-2. And they really didn't battle injuries as much as they did this season. Everyone played most games. They just don't have that chemistry anymore. Montrezl Harrell leaving, they've lost something over there. And they're still a phenomenal team. Kawhi, Paul George, Rondo, and them. But they seem like they lost a step. They for sure should have been 1-2 seed over the Jazz and the Suns. Come on now. The way that roster's stacked up, they should be there. But that chemistry is still lacking. Maybe even got worse this season.
Do you think that if they lose, they're going to trade Paul George?
If anything, Kawhi is gone rather than Paul George.
Really? You don't? So I think he's been on record saying that he'll be open to staying. I think it's going to be between him and Miami.
Yeah, I think if anyone goes, it's Kawhi. Just because if they do find evidence on that tampering, he can't even re-sign there.
Okay, but like I said, you would dog them before the season started. Like you've been kind of waiting for this, rubbing your hands, Birdman style, on their downfall. Did you really have high expectations? Do you think they were really going to be a 1-2 team with that?
I thought so, yeah. Especially after
they were going to click. You thought they were going to click.
I thought after having a whole season together and adding Rondo and DeMarcus Cousins, they were going to be a 1-2 seed. The way that roster looks on paper, they should be a 1-2 seed. But it looks like more so they lost more chemistry than ever going into the season.
I think they're still better than last season. I don't know about ever. They definitely. I think getting rid of Beverly and stuff like those guys who were upset that Kawhi came in and it was getting special treatment. Paul George. I think getting rid of them helped the locker room a lot. But I think they can still make some noise. I don't think all hope is lost for the Clippers. My biggest disappointment. I don't want to. My biggest disappointment is the Celtics. Honestly, it's just so many things. We talked about this. There's no one specific thing you can blame, even though I think the biggest, if we're going to cut pie, like whatever, I think 60% of it is on Brad Stevens. The Celtics right now are 7th in standings, 36-36, 500 team, 16th in offense, 12th in defense. This used to be a top defensive team. They look like they don't even play care out there sometimes. They don't play with heart. What bothers me most about them is they'll start doing stuff the right way. Like, they'll start sharing the ball, passing it side to side. They're like, I'm bored. I want to go back to the other way. Like, like they will do and show you that they're a great team, but they will not play it for a full game. And that tells me something. Like, the fact that these guys will, like, slack off, they'll come back from that half or come back from a quarter and not right. That tells me the mentality is right, not always there. And that also reflects, I think, off the coaching. Also, I think, I said this before, Brad Stevens is not great with lineups. Developing, they have taken a hit, and I think that's also part of it because, as Terry Rozier mentioned back when the Kyrie situation, Kyrie was here, he had Hayward, and that was like expected to go great, and they were starting to underachieve. Terry Rozier came out and said, like, hey, look, we're practicing with one lineup, right? We have practice one lineup. We go in, and the game's already different. So I think you got these guys like Neesmith, you got these guys like Pritchard. Grant Williams was great. Well, not great, but he was really good, solid guy last season. Regressed this season. I think a lot part of that is minutes. For God's sake, Danny Ainge tries to trade Tice just for Rob Williams to start, who has shown in the playoffs versus Miami last. He should have been starting instead of even playing Rob. He went with the lineup with Gordon Hayward, Kemba, Smart, Tatum, and Brown, real small ball, and they couldn't get no points, and they were getting abused inside. It's Brad Stevens. I don't know. I feel like Danny Ainge made a comment that yes, Brad could make ways to improve, but he hasn't regressed. I completely disagree with that. I think he regressed this season. His X's or O's is not as effective. I'm not sure if he lost his locker room as far as like they're not really listening to him anymore because he'll say share the ball side and then suddenly they go back to playing ISO. I get that there's people want to talk about Danny Ainge, the bottom of the roster, but you also got to think of cap situation. And guys want to go to for sure contenders. Like guys rather go to the LA teams. So you're gonna get middle of the bucket. And they got Jeff Teague and Tristan Thompson, who looked solid last offseason. They come here and nothing. And this is like a pattern here. And they traded for Evan Fournier, who looks pretty solid. He went out and got the deal. He looks solid when he's playing. He has some games where he's off. He had COVID-19 situation too. That's still affected him, he said. But Neesmith also looked great in the draft. He's finally getting minutes. They were giving a semi after all this time. He's showing, but he's not getting consistent minutes. Payne Pritchard was kind of hit a rookie wall. But these guys have shown stuff. I think it's just all about developing. And they're not developing these young players. And the problem is, like, when you have this cap situation that I have now, you're going to have to hit on these picks. You're going to have to hit on these picks because you're not going to get those top-tier free agents. And people say they want to blame Danny Ainge for how the roster is constructed. But no one wants to think about, like, he drafted 2 all-stars, young all-stars in Brandon Brown and Jason Tatum. He also brought in, when Celtics was known for not really bringing big stars, right? There was a big thing. He brought Al Horford, who's considered one of the biggest free agents during when he's free agency, Kemba Walker, and Gordon Hayward. I don't remember anyone complaining about that situation when that happened. Same thing with the Kyrie trade. If Gordon Hayward doesn't get injured, we're talking about a whole new team here. No one could have predicted that. The draft, everything. I mean, if you want to blame Danny Ainge for anything, it may be to hold on too long. Like maybe he should have traded Kyrie when Kyrie wanted to leave. I think he was holding on hope for Anthony Davis to be traded there because I don't think Anthony Davis would want to be traded to a team that would have lost Kyrie and then probably would have to get Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown to get him. But that's his only fault. I think the biggest problem with this team is developing, and I'm disappointed. Even though obviously it's just, like I said, smaller offseason, they didn't have much time to develop. I'm just disappointed in the West, not just the young guys, but also Brad Stevens.
Yeah,
not improving. I'm disappointed also with the fact that they look like they don't care. Like they have their talent. Like I said, they play well for a short period of times, and all of a sudden they stop. I think the only positive on this team is that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum took that next big step, but everybody else was left behind. And so it's going to be that question. I think a lot's fallen on Danny, but I think a lot of it's on Brad and developing team. I think they have to also bring more people in. This is a lot more than just bringing one player in to fix this problem. This is a system issue.
Yeah, Brad is he's a college head coach. That's about it. We've seen he's did good when they had good players, but when it comes time to actually have players that he has to work on, look at him. He might not even be in the playoffs.
I mean, I think it's also like when it was weird because a couple seasons ago he was good. He's known for like Isaiah Thomas, Shea Crowder, getting most out of guys, right? Maybe it's just young talent. Maybe it's just like star talent that he's not great with, or maybe he's just lost the locker room after the Kyrie situation, you know. But I think his faults are starting to become more apparent, and his pros aren't, right? And obviously when he's losing, everything's gonna be magnified, like everything's gonna be under the scope. But I don't know if, like I said this many times, I'm not sure if the answer is firing Brad because who are you gonna replace him with? But you definitely need to bring more people in. Like I said, and it's more than just one player. It's more than just you need to bring staff changes. You need to bring, if you're gonna bring roster changes. Danny Ainge already said that he don't think any star players is gonna move, but he's gonna look to make changes. And we're gonna see. But Celtics, man, I thought I had them as a playoff team. I think I did have them going to the finals.
You had them going to the finals.
Yeah. I mean, but before the season they were definitely a playoff team. Now they're not even in the playoffs. So biggest disappointment for sure. All right. Now to end, we're going to also do our AFC predictions. So I want to get into first up NFL schedule. Do you have any like just thoughts when you saw it? Like anything that you look like any game you're circling?
Honestly, I know a lot of people are circling Brady's return to Gillette, but I think it's going to be a blowout. It's not going to be anything special.
Okay.
I feel like the Bucs are going to blow them out pretty easily. I don't really see anything special going on there.
You think Brady's going to blow out Bill Belichick?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bill Belichick's defense that's actually just got Kevin Calvin back and added some more like pass front 7 people. Like, you think he's in his secondary that still has Gilmore and currently J.C. Jackson right now? Yeah,
with Gronk, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans.
Okay, but Gronk's not Gronk from 2016, 2007. Like Gronk is like, okay, he's a target, but he's not something that scares you. Like Mike Evans and Chris, yes, you're scared of. But like I said, you have J.C. Jackson and Gilmore.
I still think that'll be a blowout game. I see Brady's gonna want to prove a point over there and just be like, all right, I still got it. Like, it's not gonna be worth the hype it is. It's just Brady's return. I think they're gonna blow him out.
There's actually a game I'm circling. Some teams I'm actually looking at the schedules that I think people are overlooking. If you have the Chargers or the Washington football team on your schedule, don't overlook them. I think they're a very young upcoming team. I believe they face each other, and I had that circled. Both young upcoming teams, and I think the young lot of talent. I think this will be exciting to watch. But I want to get into the AFC East. All right, so we're gonna start with the Bills schedule. All right, this is the Bills schedule for 2021. I want you to know your record. So first week with Pittsburgh Steelers, win and lose.
I can see them winning that game.
Okay. I think they're going to win because I don't trust Big Ben. I think Ben time is over, and I think they should have moved on. I think that's what's going to hold the team back. They also lost to Peasley because of cap situation on defense, like Bud Dupree, but they did have good depth, so I'm not sure if that's going to hurt them as much. I think the biggest thing is I trust the Buffalo Bills to put up more points in Pittsburgh because of QB. So I had that 1-0. Okay. Versus Miami. At Miami.
I could see Miami potentially winning this game just because it's in Miami and it's a division rival.
Same. This was actually a close game last season. I believe Bills just got one. I want to say it's 3 points, but it might be a little bit more. I know it was under a touchdown. It was a close game. Miami, to me, also improved, where Bills' defense, the biggest question for me was their secondary. Not secondary, I'm sorry, their front 7. And they did add some guys in their draft. The only thing is the guys they added are very raw, and they're going to take a lot of development. I'm not sure if they're going to be ready beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And Miami added some offensive talent, right? They added the wide receiver, another speed wide receiver, 2 speed wide receivers in Fuller. And they got some guys in the draft. They also, I like Gaskins. I like they running back by committee there. And they have a solid. They don't have the best one O-line, but they have a solid O-line. I think Tua another year in the system is going to be Tua. I think so some promise last season despite some downs. So I think I have that 1-1. All right, Washington football team.
Easy win. Easy win. Yes, easy win.
You're the people that I just talked about how overlooking the Washington football team.
No, they're a good team, but it's still the Bills. The Bills are going to easily blow them out.
Okay, let me remind you, Washington got into the playoffs just on the defensive loan. The defensive loan got into the playoffs. That defense was young. Not only had they have a defense coming back, but they also added offensively. They added Curtis Samuel, who's an offensive gadget. And they also brought Ryan Fitzpatrick, actually a solid quarterback, who actually plays really well at the beginning of the seasons and has everyone calling him Fitzmagic. And he knows the Bills. He was on the Bills for quite some time. He knows the system. I think this is a Fitzpatrick revenge game. I think this is actually going to be a surprise L, just because I think that Washington football team is going to have Josh Allen under pressure a lot. And I think their offensive the weapons, the gadgets, you got McLaren, who's a common number 1 wide receiver, and so Samuel, I think is going to be too much for the Buffalo Bills. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is capable enough to make those throws. So I have Washington winning this game. So I have 1-2, and you have 2-1. All right, yeah. Houston. This is actually easy for me. I think this is an easy win.
That's a simple win. Yeah, Houston has no one right now.
Okay. All right, Kansas City Chiefs. We both. I think it's gonna be a loss. I think it's gonna be too tough. Too tough. Okay.
At Kansas City too. Yeah.
Yeah, at Kansas City. If it was at home, I think it's gonna be more competitive. But at Kansas City, like I said, Kansas City, I think got better, especially with the offensive line and with the Buffalo Bills. Young front 7 now with those 2 young pass rushers. I'm not sure if they're gonna be ready, and I'm not sure if they're gonna develop enough to even break that line. Yeah, so I think Kansas City is going to be fine there. So Titans.
I can see a win. Even though they're at Tennessee, I can see a win here.
Okay. All right, win. I think it's going to be same. I think it's actually going to be a close game, but Buffalo Bills actually had a solid run defense last season. And I think that's going to be the key to stopping the Titans. The Titans did add some guys defensively, but they have questions at their secondary who they did add. Caleb Fairley, I think how you pronounce his last name, from the draft. Great prospect, but he's injured, and some people were hesitant to draft him. That's why he slid. So we'll see about that. So I do give the Bills the edge because I think Josh Allen's going to take advantage of the questionable secondary, and that they're also going to slow down Henry a little bit. All right, Miami, again.
I could see a loss here coming off the bye week, even though they're in Buffalo. That bye week will slow them down. And like I said, Miami's going to have that one win up against them. Okay. I feel like they'll have a better chance.
All right. Now, I think this is actually going to be – I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be 1-1. I had them winning. I had them losing at Miami, but I think they're going to win at home. I think they're going to be fresh coming off a bye week, and I think that's good, even though I think those last 2 games they're going to come off a loss and it's going to come off a close win so they can use a break. But at Buffalo, I think Bills take it. They usually split it, I believe, with Miami. Most teams, I think, in AFC East do. All right, Jaguars. Easy win for me. Yeah, easy. I think Trevor Lawrence is not going to be as great his first year as many expecting him to be, and they still have a lot of holes to fill in a young team. Buffalo, I think, is more experienced, and we'll take advantage of that. Jets, win.
Win.
Okay. Indianapolis Colts.
Win.
This is going to be actually an interesting game. Good defense, both good. I think it's going to kind of disturb Josh Allen a little bit, but again, I just don't trust Carson Wentz at all. And we're going to have to see what happens with Julio's situation. That might change it. But I'm going to give a close game. I'm going to give the edge to Bills. All right, New Orleans Saints.
Win.
Okay. So you think Drew Brees really is like going to drop this? It's going to make this easy?
Yeah, I think it's going to make it easy. I feel like they just don't have the right guys there now because he was one of the all-time quarterbacks in the league. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Taysom Hill is not going to be that guy. He's really not.
Okay. Which I might be James Winston, but I think also Winston's also interception prone. But it could have been just because of in that Tampa Bay offense, that's high risk, deep throws. But we'll see. I think they're going to be still a solid team. They did lose pieces because they had to make caps room because they were negative. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Buffalo's going to pull it off too. All right, versus New England.
Home against the Pats, yeah, they'll win that.
Win that? Okay. At home, I'll give that to them too. This is another team they usually split with. Josh Allen doesn't do it usually as great against New England. It seems like Bill has his number. But at home, and they play each other tough, I think the Bills take care of business. Tampa Bay.
I feel like it'll be a battle, but I can see the Bucs coming out on top in this game, especially being in Bucs territory.
Oh, so this game's a battle.
Yeah.
Buffalo has a more shaky defense.
No, this will be a battle of offenses. We have yet to see their offense after last season. Okay. Even the Buffalo's defense is shaky, but their offense will put up 40 if they need to.
Okay. All right. So I think that they're going to blow them. I don't think Buffalo can score as much as Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to shred that defense. So I'm going to give it to Tampa Bay. I think this one's going to probably be easy. Carolina Panthers.
Easy win.
Easy win. I think it's going to be win. I'm not sure about easy. Carolina has been building up the defense. I feel like Sam Darnold. I think that Sam Darnold's experiment should be over. And I think this season Carolina's going to improve that. And they also lost some weapons. So I can see Bills. I think they're going to win this. But I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because of Carolina's defense. All right, at New England.
I honestly think it'll be close, but I could see Buffalo coming out on top if Josh Allen can overcome that hump of being scared to play against Belichick.
Okay. So I have at New England, like I said, they usually split it. So I have the Patriots winning this. Because Bill Belichick usually does well versus Josh Allen. Their defense, I think, is going to be top back in the league. And I think their offense is going to have it figured out by then, whether it's Mac Jones or Cam Newton. So I'm going to give this one to the Patriots. All right, Atlanta.
A win.
Win? Okay. I'm going to agree with you here. I think Atlanta's defense is still so shaky. They couldn't really do much because of the cap situation. And if they lose Julio, they're going to take a bigger hit. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I think Buffalo scores more. All right, Jets.
Win.
Okay, easy win. Okay. So, let me see. My record was 1. I had loss, win, loss. So, what was your record if you want to count what I'm counting mine?
I have them going 13 and 13 and 3. 13 and 4.
All right. So let me see. Count mine. 1, 2, 3. I think I had 13 and 4 as well. But I feel like mine was like I had more losses than you. I think you had probably 14 and 3, and I had 13 and 3. We'll go back. I'll add this also in the graphics.
No, I had 13 and 4 because I had them losing to the Dolphins twice, the Chiefs, and the Bucks.
So I had them losing to the Dolphins, the Washington football team, Kansas City, Patriots. Oh, so You're
12 and 5.
Yeah, 12 and 5. Yeah, I think that's actually very reasonable. 12 and 5. All right. Patriots. All right. Dolphins. Not at Dolphins, sorry. At New England versus the Dolphins. I have the Dolphins losing this, actually. Because usually Miami, they give them a harder time. But at New England, they usually split it. The same thing with the Buffalo. I think that Tua did play Bill respectively well for a rookie. And Flores versus Belichick is going to be really great. It's going to be a tight game. But I think that the Patriots defense is going to have it more together than Dolphins, who they went the younger route. They have young potential, and they let go of a lot of guys like Kyle Van Noy to go the younger route. But I think it's going to take some time for the defense to get back up.
I can see the Dolphins winning that just because the Dolphins are already established as they've played together for a couple years now, whereas the Patriots are bringing in a bunch of new guys. So especially that first game, it's going to be hard bringing them in together.
That's fair. But they do have a whole offseason. They have So we'll see. The Jets at the Jets.
Win.
I think this is an easy win. All right. Saints in New England.
I think that'll be a win. It'll just be a closer game than we'd imagine.
I think it's going to be a win just because I think if it's Winston starting, I think Bill Belichick's going to take advantage of mistakes. And like I said, the Saints had lost pieces. The Saints got worse both sides of the ball defensively. Too, I think the Patriots are going to take advantage of that when New England got better. So New England. Buccaneers.
Loss.
You said hard loss. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close loss. All right. So I think that, again, Belichick knows Brady and Brady knows Bill Belichick. That's why I think it's going to be close. This defense is familiar with Brady. A lot of the same guys brought back. More talent brought in. Kyle Van Noy. You got Juden. You got some draft picks. They're going to be better against the run. You got Gilmore back there and J.C. Jackson returning. Devin McCourty's still back there. So I think this defense is going to give Brady some problems. It's just if can the offense keep up. But I think it's going to be a close enough game where they're going to keep low scoring. I think it's going to be the Bucs still take it. Texans.
That's a win.
Win. I agree with you. Texans, I think, is going to be the worst team in the league last season. All right, Cowboys.
That's up in the air depending on how good Dak comes back with Zeke.
I think the Cowboys are going to be the same thing as they always are. Good offensively, horrible defensively. They still haven't had a secondary. They still don't have a secondary. So I think this is going to be a win because I don't trust the Cowboys to stop anybody. Jets.
A win.
Win. Okay, I agree with that. Win. Chargers.
I said losing.
I actually agree with me here. This is actually an upset to me. I think, again, this is a young upcoming team. Herbert's not going to be rookie anymore, but I think he still might not do as well. The New England blew him out last season. They didn't even score. This was the bug. But I think the Chargers, they added defensively. They also has, like I said, Justin Herbert in the system. They have a sneaky good team. It's just what they could put together. You have Eckler. They lost Henry, but I believe they replaced him with Cook. I think this is going to be a good team. And the fact that it's in LA, I think it's going to make a difference. Panthers.
A win.
A win. I agree there. Browns.
Loss. Don't even say that's going to be a close game. That's a loss.
It's Bill versus Cleveland. Okay, people are hyping the Browns. The Browns defense is not good. The Browns defense was not good. It was not consistent last season.
Yeah, but now they're going to be – look who they added. Like, they're going to be great.
Okay, so the fact that the Patriots really focused on their run game this season, they added guys to the draft. They added guys to free agency. They really beefed up their front seven. I'm not as scared as Chubb as I was, or that the duo over there. And it's going to really, I think, be about Belichick versus secondary versus Mayfield. So I'm going to give it an edge to the Patriots. I think the Patriots defense is going to win this game, and the Browns defense is going to lose it.
I don't know about that one.
Falcons.
That's a win.
I Okay, I agree with that. Falcons win. I think that's actually going to be a close game. I think the Falcons are going to try, they're going to try to pitch that ball
Yeah.
at some point. Again, the Falcons defense does not exist. The secondary does not exist. I think that's what's going to hurt them all season. Gets the Titans.
A loss. They're not going to be able to stop Derrick Henry, I feel.
Well, it's not even Derrick Henry. I think they always play. Titans always play them tough. Mike Robo was a former Patriots player. He knows how to go against Bill. He knows what, how stops that offense. Even though the Titans are not like a top defense, they played well versus New England. And the offense, like I said, they have Derrick Henry. You have Vital, who's capable. And even though they lost wide receivers, they still have a pretty solid number one guy. All right, Buffalo. At Buffalo.
Right. I had them losing last, so I have to keep it simple.
Yep, we said loss. I agree with that there. At Indianapolis.
That could be a loss.
I agree there. I think at Indianapolis, it's going to be a tough defense. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to have a big game, but I think it's going to be well enough. The Colts are a solid team. They have a good system. And the fact that it's at Indianapolis, I think they take care of business. Buffalo.
A loss again.
Yeah, I had this one actually as a win. I split it up. That's at New England. They played, I think they were close last season at New England, and the Cam Newton fumble lost it there at the end zone. Like I said, this is a better team. Bills didn't get that much better to me. The Patriots got a lot better. And I trust New England's defense more than I trust Buffalo's, who I think it's going to probably be developed more here. But I think that so when New England will have continuity, they will have their QB situation figured out. Jaguars.
A win.
I agree there. Again, like I said, very young team. Patriots more experience. At Dolphins, I believe I had this as a loss.
That's a loss, yeah.
Okay. All right. So we had lost to the Colts. I had lost to the Titans. I had lost to the Chargers, and I had lost to the Bucks. So that is, and I think I said lost to. Let me see. I feel like I'm missing somebody. No, I scored.
I have them winning 8 games.
8 games? Oh yeah, you were hating. So really, you think this team? Okay, so you have a win in 8. They won 7 last season with a much worse roster and a tougher schedule. You think that this team's not going to improve at all?
No, I don't know because we haven't seen them play all together. It's a bunch of random players they're bringing into a Bill Belichick system, so you don't know how they're going to perform. We've seen phenomenal players come over here and underperform.
But this is the Patriots. They're not signing guys unless they fit their system.
No, they signed Roddy White last time, and he didn't fit the system. Josh Gordon didn't fit the system.
They signed him, but that wasn't like big contracts. They're giving out big contracts. And Josh Gordon fit the system. He just couldn't stay on the field. But no, they gave out big contracts to guys that weren't even the biggest player on the list. It's just the best guy that fit their system. And I think they're going to go to a 3, but assuming they're going to 3-4. Kyle Benoit fit the system. That's where he excelled. Juden looks like he could fit well in the system. They drafted guys from that played at Alabama. That's always a good connection with Bill Belichick, who played in a complicated system, so it's easier transition. And Mac Jones, who people say is like, poor man's Brady, which I think he's more than Matt Ryan, but still, he fit that old system. So I don't know. I think that they only I think I said 4, but I think I see them losing 4 or 5 games this season. I think they're going to be surprised a lot of teams. I think it's the AFC. The AFC East is actually going to be a very competitive division this year. All right, Jets at Carolina.
Loss.
I have it as a loss too. Well, actually, no. Actually, I'm lying. I had this as a win because I know they know Sam Darnold, and I think that Carolina defense is going to be solid, but I think the Jets actually have been building up a pretty good defense too. And it's really going to be Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold who runs better. I actually kind of they're very similar, but I think Wilson's going to be a little bit better there. So I actually have the Jets winning this because they know Sam Darnold. New England.
Loss.
I think we said this is a loss. At Denver, what are you going to do? Loss. I agree with you there. Tennessee.
Loss.
At Atlanta.
Loss.
I agree there. At New England.
Loss.
I agree there. Cincinnati.
Maybe a win.
I think Burrow's really going to turn this team around.
This is one of the only games they could put up a fight against in that schedule, really. Besides
honestly,
Houston.
Cincinnati is pretty. They have nice young talent. I think we're going to see them a step forward this season. I'm not saying that they're a playoff team, but I think they're going to take a step forward, especially with Burrow coming back from injury. I have this as a loss. Indianapolis.
Loss.
I agree there. Buffalo.
Loss.
Loss. I think Miami, we said loss at Houston.
Yeah.
I said
Probably a
it's a
win.
win.
I can see a win. I can see a win
Like I said,
here.
I
No
think
matter where
Houston
they are, I
wins.
can see a win here.
Houston's roster, how it's constructed, doesn't make sense to me. A lot of vets to put together and a lot of young teams. Like it's very confusing. It seemed like they had no clear direction. But Jets, I think they're a younger team, and by week 12, I think they're gonna have a little bit more developed. They're gonna have more time. They're gonna make more sense against this Houston team, which I think is gonna be struggling all year long. Philadelphia.
Loss.
We lost. New Orleans.
Loss.
We lost. Miami.
Loss.
We already said it's a loss. Yeah, I don't think they don't have a talent to match scoring wise.
No.
Offensively, defensively, I feel like teams it's just not going to be enough. Jacksonville, I actually have this as a win.
Yeah, that could be a possible win depending on how good Trevor Lawrence fits into that system right away.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's going to make Trevor Lawrence isn't going to make that much of a difference right away. I think that this team is going to be. It could be really good a couple years from now, but I think first year is going to be a lot of rookie. Tampa Bay.
Absolute blowout loss.
Wait, now what if they rest? Okay, if they rest everybody here, I would entertain the idea this might be a win. Because this might be like if they already secure their spot, they might be resting guys.
No, but if the Jets are as bad as they were last year, almost in that number one pick, you really think they're going to risk a low profile win again like last season?
It's the Jets. They messed it up last season. They could have had the first pick and they messed that up.
Yeah.
So okay, I'll agree with that. That's gonna be a loss and loss. All right, so I had 2 wins for the
Jets. I had
Jets.
2 wins, yeah.
Okay, so we agree 2 wins. Okay, it's not really nice, but I mean it's the Jets. I mean,
can
you blame us? The Jets. I mean, they're gonna. It seems like they can never get it right. A lot is gonna depend on Zach Wilson. How long is it gonna take him to develop? I think it's gonna take time. All right, I want to go to Miami's schedule, and I don't have a graphic for it, so we're gonna do share screen. Can you see me? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna take off this. There we go. All right, Miami schedule. You had it as a win. I had it as a loss. You had it as we both had it as a loss. Las Vegas. This is gonna be an entertaining game, actually. But I think I believe Miami's potential more. It's really gonna depend if Aaron Rodgers gets traded. Is why I'm gonna entertain this. If Aaron Rodgers gets traded to Las Vegas, then I think this is gonna be Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, and it's just Rodgers how they construct it now, I'm giving it to Miami. I trust, and plus I like Flores. I think Flores is going to be one of the top coaches in this.
Oh yeah.
And I just don't believe in John Gruden as much.
No.
Indianapolis Colts.
I can see a win here. It'll be a battle, but I can see a win.
Okay, for sure. Okay. All right. I actually see it being a win. Again, like you said, it's going to be a battle, but I trust Miami's offense more than I trust Tua more than I trust Carson Wentz. Tampa Bay. Loss. I agree with you there. I think Tampa Bay is more experienced, more well put together, more well-rounded. Jacksonville.
It'll be an easy win for them in this one, I feel. It should be at least.
Yeah, I think, like I said, they're more well-rounded than Jaguars. The Jaguars, I think, are going to have a lot of rookie pains versus Atlanta.
A win.
I think it's going to be a win, too. I think that the Miami's defense is going to be actually one of the floors. I think they're going to be a really good defense, and offensively, they have a lot of talent. I don't think Atlanta's secondary can keep up with their speed at all that Miami has put together this offseason. Buffalo.
A win.
At Buffalo. Did we say this was I think I had it at Buffalo. I had it as a loss. You had it as
I thought it was a win for the Dolphins.
Yeah. I have it as a loss for the Dolphins. Versus Houston.
Win.
We said win. Versus Baltimore. This is gonna be a really good game.
That'll be a really good game, but I feel like the Ravens defense is gonna overcome. Tua's still trying to figure out if he's gonna fit in the system yet or not.
Yeah, no, I think Ravens are too much of a team. Like there's ranks to this, and we'll do a podcast. We'll go over the rankings, but I think Ravens are still more of a sure thing. Their defense is still top defense. They took them a little bit last season to get it together, but we saw last season they still have a top defense. Lamar Jackson, he got some weapons in the draft, so let's see how it pays off. I think the Ravens are going to win this game.
Yeah.
Versus the Jets, I think we said win. Versus Carolina,
win
versus the Giants.
Win.
I think people are hyping the Giants might have a bright future, but I'm not sold on Julio Jones.
No.
I don't think that it's a lot going to depend on Barkley, how he comes back. Versus Miami's defense. I think Miami's defense takes front seven, take care of it. Jets, we had as a win. At New Orleans, I had this actually as a loss.
I think they could win this game depending on how they are meshing by this time of the season and considering if Taysom Hill or James Winston is going to be in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I just think that it's at New Orleans, and I don't know. I'm just even like I said, I've been saying New Orleans have lost it worse, but they're not that much worse. They're still a playoff team, and it's based off experience. I just think Saints defense is still a pretty good defense. So they're going to slow the offense down. I think New Orleans is going to score a little bit more points. Tennessee.
Loss. Because they're in Tennessee too.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game. I'll say that's a loss as well. Again, Mike Robo knows Brian Flores. They were New England. I think that's going to be a tough game, but I think obviously see Derrick Henry win this game for the Tennessee Titans. Miami doesn't have I don't think that's going to have like a dominant offense like a Kansas City where they're going to take advantage of Tennessee's defense. I think Tennessee's defense will be solid against Miami. Versus New England, I had this versus New England. I believe that
I had them beat New England twice.
Yeah, I had them as a win at home. So yes, because I usually split it. So that's what our record is. So we have. I had them. I believe I gave them one. How many losses did you give them?
1, 2, 3. I gave them 5 losses.
I gave them 1.
7, 12, and 5.
I gave them 2, 3, 4. I gave them 5 losses as well. So that's awesome. We'll do a NFC team, maybe NFC East, next podcast. But I want to thank our viewers who sticking us out and tuning in with us this week. We'll hopefully go back for actually the following week. We're not going to come back next week. We're gonna share a podcast we did with Netflix. If you want to tell us about that a little bit, NFL's coach.
So yeah, we shared it with not NBA coach, high school coach. He played for Last Chance U. He coached ELAC. He's the newest season in the NBA. We got to share it out there again. We didn't really get much on it. It was a little interview, but I feel like it's going to be great for everyone to see.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a great interview. We just had some technical issues in the beginning there. So we're going to repost that. We're going to share that with you guys. And then we'll also come back the following week, talk about a little bit more about the NFL, some rankings. We're going to revisit the NFC East schedule, and we're going to tune back in what's going on with the NBA. But we'll see you next week. Until that, take care.